Hello and welcome to this Jane's Weather Update, the second last one for the year. I'll have one more next week. Today we have got a cold front that is moving across the southeast in through here. A cold front brings air from the Southern Ocean, so it's cooler. It also hits the western parts of Tasmania, then it hits the ranges, and then it dries out on the other side. So you can see all the rain was in the west and not in the east. It hits the southern coastline of Victoria, producing cloud through the south, but doesn't let anything move further inland. Otherwise, high pressure is sitting here over the bight. That puts the southeast on the cool side, and it puts the southwest on the warm side of that high. Now, all of this is very slowly going to move eastwards over the next couple of days, culminating really in Sunday, Monday, that high will be out to the east, and a lot of heat is going to come into the southeast instead of the cooler than average conditions we've had this week. Looking further north, the current trough is here through Queensland. You get the wet weather on the eastern side of that trough, so there's all of our falls, showers and thunderstorms, hit and miss activity, all dry through to the west of that. The other trough is moving down into the western part of the country, taking lots of moisture and turning that into wet weather. So that's our current picture, and expect all of this to move eastwards as we go through the weekend into early next week, and then we'll have those troughs move back in. I'll show you more in a second. Here is what happened in the last week. Now, not often you get to see rainfall in pretty much every single part of the country. We had all of the moisture that was pushing this into pretty much everywhere, and the weather map, the weather pattern was conducive to turning that into wet weather across large parts of the country. Now we've had a bit of a shift where it's taking it out of the southeast, it's taking it out of most of New South Wales and South Australia, the eastern parts of Tasmania, and instead it is limiting it to Queensland and over in the west. So we've had a change in the pattern in terms of where the rain is falling. We haven't had a change in how much moisture is available to play with, and that moisture is going to stick with us for a while. So just wanted to really show you that one too. So we had those rainfall maps that had every part of the country covered, and yes, it did actually turn out to be that's the way it was. All right, here are our new colours, which will be launching soon. This one is less like a surrealist painting, is what my first feedback on the other one was. Hopefully it's easier to see where the heavier falls are and where you're not going to get very much at all. This here is right through to Friday, 11 p.m. So this is the next week, Friday the 20th. So over the next 8 days, what the potential rainfall is. You'll notice we're still having a large area where not much is going on through these eastern parts here. Yes, to the northeast of that, we've got a trough that's in there, we've got a moisture source that naturally turns that into wet weather, as you would expect at this time of year as well. We've also got this over in the west that does continue as we move through, skipping the southwest corner. It's not making it that far down, but not quite making it to the southeast. Now this system here, let's watch it day by day. So here we have Friday the 13th, that is today at 11 p.m. Here's all of our wet weather that's happening in Queensland here, just a little bit down in through here. The main activity is the coastline north of Brisbane. We've got this that's running down into the west, skipping the southwest corner. Let's watch that move day by day. So here we have Saturday, continuing here, but moving down into Brisbane. Continuing in the west, but moving slightly eastwards. Having a look at Sunday, still some activity in Queensland. This starting to push eastwards, moving into Monday. Still, it's a very long-lasting system. It's on and on and on. And so there it is coming down there. But by the time it reaches the southeast, have a look on Tuesday, it's really not delivering much if you're inland. It's running out of oomph by the time it reaches us here. So don't expect a lot from that one there, unless you're near the coastlines or in the western part of Tasmania. Again, this ramps up in Queensland as we move through Tuesday next week. And we're not done over in the west. There's another bit that is up there. Heading into Wednesday next week, lots of activity in Queensland, into northeast New South Wales, nothing in the southeast. Moving into Thursday next week, lots of activity up in here in Queensland, but pushes north of Brisbane. And here we have later on next week, so that's Friday, continuing up there. But otherwise, a large ridge of high pressure keeping things dry for the rest of it. All right, let's have a look at that as a whole. So here's from the Euro model. It's looking Monday through to Monday, so the 16th through to the 23rd of December. And that shows us that we are drier than average across this southern part here. You had a lot of this coming in before Monday, so it was on the weekend, so I've just got a little bit of that left. But it is mainly these northeastern parts of the country really that eastern half, northeastern half of Queensland that is seeing most of that activity. The rest is looking rather dry. Let's have a look at what that means for temperature. We have got a huge spike of heat that is coming into the southeast Sunday into Monday, and then it moves out of the southeast as a cold front comes through, but it just goes into the north a little bit. It's not a strong cold front. It doesn't come all the way through. That ball of heat is still there, and it will come back as soon as the winds allow it to spread right down through to the coast again. So this one here is overall for that week, but most of the heat is going to be early on and then coming back again later. You would expect blues in through here. We've got onshore winds. We've got day after day of shower and storm activity. Let's have a look at wet weather for week 2, which is the week of Christmas. Here we have activity. I was talking about how it might come back down again over in the west, this time moving into these eastern parts and not completely drying out, but not making it all the way through the southeast or the eastern parts of New South Wales or southeast Queensland. So it could be another break for these areas here. That'll be a couple of weeks in a row. So in week 2, that week of Christmas, might be getting activity in the west, in the central parts, but not quite making it right through to the east. What does that mean for temperature? Let's have a look at week 2 there. This moves further north. We've got heat coming into the southern parts of Queensland, all through those eastern states there, and into the west as well. So Christmas week could be fairly warm, as in warmer than average overall. Again, in the south, if we've got cold fronts coming through, it's going to go up, down, up, down. All right, what is causing all of this? We always have a look at our sea surface temperature anomaly. That is how much warmer or cooler the top of the ocean is. Why do we care? If it is warmer than average, that's more moisture to play with. Moisture is one of those key equations in order to get us rain. And around Australia, we have got a lot of that now. So off the northwest coast here, all of this is still yellow. All of this is very red. So this entire area here is warmer than average, and we're starting to see it in the Bight as well now. So winds from any direction pretty much, but if it is a northerly, if it is an easterly, that is going to carry a lot of moisture with it, but it can only get to you if the weather pattern allows it. In order to get this to come down into the southeast, you need a high pressure system sitting east of Tasmania here and on an angle, so that it actually brings that in from the northeast, not from the northwest where it's going to get across the desert and it dries out as it does so, which is why Sunday into Monday, that change coming through isn't going to deliver a lot. That's what we're looking at in terms of the sources of moisture. Now, at the moment, the MJO, Madden-Julian Oscillation, this is a pulse of tropical energy that picks up that moisture, and when it's in the green zone, as it has been now for quite a while, and is likely to continue here doing loop-de-loops until the end of the year, and then starting the first bit of January, it starts to weaken off a little bit, but it's not quite over here in the dry zone yet. So we have an increased push of that moisture, which we're seeing day after day. At the moment, the weather pattern is pushing that into the west of the country. Let's have a quick look at the Pacific Ocean, and we've been bobbing around. We're definitely on this side of the neutral line. A couple of models still have it going into here, but this is less important now because we can see here clearly we have got these moisture sources, and whenever the wind allows it to come in, we're going to see heavier than average rain. Having a look at the Indian Ocean, here is our very late in the year negative IOD that helped push that moisture down from the northwest. It tried to get out of it and it's come back down again, but it generally at this time of year we don't look at this map because the monsoon is taking over. All right, January through to March, here is the Bureau's guide. We know that we're expecting more than average rain because we've got those sources of moisture, they are staying there. Now this does not guarantee that your particular spot will get heavier than average rain or will have rain day after day after day. This shows you that because of that sources of moisture, we have plenty to play with. And when the systems can actually push in your direction, that is when that rain is likely to come in. If you've got high pressure sitting over you for the entire thing, then no, you're not going to see heavier than average rain because you don't have that second part of the equation. The moisture we can see, the pressure we can't. So ahead of time, we can't guarantee that you're going to get extra rainfall because we don't know where those systems are going to move. Something I wish we could sort out as an industry. Okay, let's whip around the country. We'll start in Brisbane. Today is a quiet day. Lots of sunshine. We're very warm. We've got easterly winds and there is just the very slightest risk of a shower or storm, but that increases as we go into Saturday. Lots of activities. Sunday, a little bit of activity. Monday, lots of activity. Tuesday, lots of activity. So do keep that in mind. Today is the day if you're looking for absolutely, almost absolutely dry weather. Today is the day for you. Heading into Sydney, you saw on that map day after day, it did come down to Brisbane occasionally, but it didn't make it all the way through to Sydney. So a fairly dry run of conditions coming through. It's not overly hot either. We've got 26s, 28s, 32, and then a 21 after a change comes through Tuesday into Wednesday next week. That's that big cool change swooping across the southeast of the country. So that'll be the big change in temperature, but it's just nice conditions before then. Heading into Melbourne, cloud clearing to sunshine. Here it is. It's the 5th day in a row, as you would expect, with high pressure back over the bight, but it's the last day of that activity. So cloudy in the morning, sunny in the afternoon, on the mild side. Heading into Saturday, we'll have a look at the difference in the cloud here. This one indicates high level cloud. So it'll be a very different day. It's that wispy high stuff, not the low grey stuff that we have as we've had each morning during the week this week. Each morning during the week this week. Tomorrow, that changes. It turns into wispy high cloud. There's lots of sunshine through, so it's a very different day. From Sunday, that's when temperatures start spiking. There's not a cloud in the sky. The winds aren't very strong. It's lovely. It moves into the low 30s. Now, Monday, the record at Melbourne, at the regional office in the city, so the one going all the way back to the 1850s, is 43.7. That is the hottest that Melbourne has been in December. And there's a slight chance we might be able to at least go near that as we go through Monday. We've got northerly winds. They're hot, they're strong, they're gusty, they're coming down, they're dragging all of that heat from the interior right through to the coast in through here and even into Tasmania. And what that is doing is producing hotter conditions. It is likely to go into the low 40s, and then there is the cool change. Here it is in the late afternoon, and temperatures will absolutely plummet. Not a lot of wet weather with that one, but as we go into Tuesday morning, yes, there could be something, and then it clears out again, and then we'll warm up again at the end of next week. Heading into Adelaide, there is not a lot of activity. So as that system comes across, I wouldn't expect much from it all. 0 to 1.4 millimetres. None of the models like it to do anything here. It is just that change in temperature. So 27, here we have 32. We're 40 on Sunday, 35, and then we go back down to 23 before we start to warm up again. So that's when the change is coming through for Adelaide. And over in the west, hardly any wet weather going on here. The systems are not reaching that southwestern corner. So this is the last of the heat today, and then we're mild, 24, and it bumps back up again next Tuesday. So that's it from me for the next week. I'll have one more update for you next week, and that one should have a Christmas Day outlook in it as well. I'll see you next week. Bye.